Well, by now, many of you have heard all the hoopla regarding the meteor shower, un- unscheduled, brand new, large fireballs they're proclaiming. It's very funny to look at and read all the contradictions. But when we look at the sun, we see, well, this week we did have two comets fly into the sun. The second one, shown here at the bottom of the screen, should enter at any moment. And it's very small, hard to see. But we showed you one of those earlier in the week. So that's a second one. Same path, small fragments. Nothing huge has hit the sun or gone into the sun since Ison. It makes me think Ison was one of the parent comets. But look at the inbound motion now. We showed you this inbound material or cavities collapsing into the sun, triggering very explosive reactions. We were showing you how it was the 9 o'clock position on the clock to the 12 o'clock position that was getting all this inbound opposite motion. Well, now it's the other side of the sun, and it's significant, and it's as if almost the departing CMEs are leaving behind a void and sucking material into the opposite side of the sun. Also, in this series of events, the very top of the screen is associated with a bizarre anomaly now before your eyes. It looks like a fountain, but nothing shows up on the other wavelengths. So we were scrolling through the week trying to see if we could see more inbound motion because they do signal flaring, and we do. We see all kinds, but what's bizarre is it's coming in now to the other side of the sun. A lot of stuff looks to be pouring into the sun. Hundreds and hundreds of objects, shadows, spheres, some light, some dark, some gray, some big, some small, streaming 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock position into the sun. And so, I mean, again, I don't know what it is, but it's sure telling when it occurs on the opposite side of the CME. And when we look at the CME side, occasionally we'll see something fall back into the sun after the CME departs. But, I mean, you could see all along the right-hand perimeter of the sphere, there's collapsing shadows, collapsing spheres, all going into the sun, not outward from the sun. So when they're talking about thousands of particles and all this debris, and we're going to be pelted and we're going to have fireballs. Well, when we look at the sun, it almost looks like the sun's getting pelted. But the brown dwarf is directly opposite of the sun right now. In this frame, it would be behind the screen of your monitor, but up really about 40 degrees above the level of that sphere. So if debris was coming at us, then we could see how the neutral helium could be getting pulled in to the sun, and some of that could be coming right at us and just being bent around the sun. But we even see, look at the lower 7 o'clock position. There was stuff going the wrong direction from the 7 o'clock and the 5 o'clock. And just amazing to see all this inward motion. And the fact that it's triggering CMEs each and every time tells me that it's not an anomaly of light, that it's actually something that carries with it mass. because when that mass hits the sun, it creates shock waves that immediately trigger CMEs, and sometimes very fast ejecting CMEs. So we're scrolling through the remainder of this week. Again, every single day we see these collapsing shadows. And the other thing I like to look for is like, well, if there was a second wind coming right at us, maybe from slightly above, then CMEs departing left and right would want to twist in the same direction every time. And we do see a lot of twisting in the slower releasing CMEs. The faster ones don't twist until they get out further into the corona. And there are some redacted frames. We can see CMEs being cut off. Sometimes it's because the clock turns over to the next day, but sometimes they cut these off. So also, if we were going to go into a direct alignment with this brown dwarf, we would expect earthquakes, and the large body alignments do produce 7-pointers. Well, you can see on this category, this list of recent earthquakes, we've had it from the 19th, 21st, 22nd, 20. We were having a string then, but yet there was a 4-day period to the 26th, and then the 26th had 2-3 earthquakes, big 6-pointers, but starting off with a 7.2. So that means, and there's another quake up there, another 6-pointer being cut off on the 27th. So in the 27th, 26th, and we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 earthquakes in 2 days, all of them greater than 6-pointer, and at the start a 7.2. So that means in 3 or 4 days we're looking for another 7-pointer. So we're seeing the earthquake clusters that would indicate a large body alignment. So, are we really seeing debris from a single comet that fragmented in the 90s, and that for some reason now the debris is going to create issues? Are they fabricating an excuse to trigger something more nefarious and devious, a natural disaster that was man-made, but they're going to blame it on, well, we were warning you about the comet debris, but in the beginning of this video, we've already shared with you some of the inconsistencies that these reports are, featuring. So, but we're looking. There's the Swasserman right there, the Swasserman Watchman. That's one of the comets that supposedly left a debris field, but it never crossed our path. So there's something very fishy about the patsy of the comet. It just doesn't make sense. I need to really go back and look at the diagram. There's more than one Swasserman Watchman comets, so there's several of those, and so as we attempt to figure out what the heck is going on, why now, basically we still have a very crowded solar system with 40 plus comets that are visible right now from Earth. Well, a year ago it was 60. So actually the number's down a little bit from a year ago in terms of visible comets that are coming through our solar system. Amazing. So I like this website to track the comets. They really put out all the coordinates on each and every comet. I wish I could go right to the JPL diagrams to show you the orbits in motion and the dates Very, very cool simulations. But and we'll have to check it out. But the thing is why now? I mean, why are these fragments all of a sudden an issue? Why haven't we seen comet showers or meteor showers from this debris field? Routinely. Like we do other meteor showers. But they're talking about bolides, and yes, in the last 48 hours, we've had several bolides, but we have them every night now. So, are there more bolides than usual? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But if you look when we get to the actual AMS reports, we see huge fireballs are being seen. And when you go and look at the trajectories of all of these huge fireballs, and the reason I'm saying huge is because of the number of reports coming in. The more people that see it, the bigger, brighter it is. Some of it has to do with timing, yes. Daytime fireballs don't get as many views, and people don't see them as easily. But nighttime, early enough in the night when people are out, you can raise the number of views. But when 300 people see your fireball, it's probably because it traversed a long area and was very bright. And I showed you this simulation. I wanted to show you the pie cut in the middle again. The highest densities being created after these particles leave the sun are occurring in an angle that is consistent where the brown dwarf is. This is a north-south cut, and in that north-south cut, Earth is moving away from you, and so you see the highest densities occurring at a wind that is moving down 40 degrees from the center of the sun. So not only are we downstream of the focusing cone, but the highest densities are being recorded from exactly where the origin should indicate, from above the ecliptic, because as it passes the sun, most of these particles now are headed slightly south, where at about a 40-degree angle. Now that simulation was showing you an increase from 10 to 30 particles per 1,000th of a cubic centimeter. Well, how many particles is that? Well, cubic centimeter, 1 cubic meter, is what? 1,000,000 cubic centimeters in 1 cubic meter. So if you were just getting 1 particle per cubic centimeter, that would come out to 1,000,000 particles per cubic meter. And we're used to seeing densities being recorded in cubic meters, not 1/1000th of a centimeter. But there it is. It goes from 10 to 30. It goes from a green to a white. So if if 1 particle per 1,000th of a cubic centimeter, if 1 particle per 1,000th of a cubic centimeter is now 1 billion particles, because 1 cubic centimeter was 1,000,000. So when you go up another exponent, you add 3 more zeros to your calculation, you come out with 1 billion particles per cubic meter, because they're measuring in 1/1000th of a cubic centimeter. So now we're up to 1 billion particles per cubic meter, but they're measuring 30, not 1 per, not 1 per unit. We're measuring 30 per unit of measure. The unit of measure, 1/1000th of a cubic centimeter, is 1 billion cubic centimeters times 30. So 30 billion particles in a cubic meter. And that's occurring where? Outside the orbit of Earth. you're looking at about 1.5 AU is where these concentrations seem to max out. But the majority of the density is occurring in the southern trajectory, pushing south in the direction that the downstream portion of the focusing cone should be. It should be right there. Now, the radiation panels we were talking about. This one is folded. These are foil sheets that are folded. So if you have 50 sheets folded, you have 100 layers of foil. That's huge. You can buy this about $3, but you can get 30 at some stores. At $1.99, 30 folded in half gives you 60 layers, 60 layers of foil. And each and every time a gamma ray passes through a higher density object, it refracts it. It bends the rays just slightly. And that refraction occurs now 60 times. So this literally turns away gamma radiation. And so what you do is you take these boxes. You can find them all over, but you can even go to the dollar store and see if they have 25s. And they come out like Kleenex. You pull on them and the dispenses, but you don't want to do that here. You want to use this as a radiation guard. So you take 3 of them, put them side by side, and they make a nice panel. Just put we use metallic tape. Put a piece of metallic tape on a seam, and then on the next seam, go to the opposite side of the panel. So you have one strip of tape on front, another strip on back, when you connect these together to make one large panel, 3 in a row. And that way, it's not crucial that you do that, but when you do it that way, it folds up like an accordion. When you use metallic tape also, just know, once you put it on, it's on for good. There's no way you can take it off without tearing the paint off the cardboard. And possibly tearing pieces of cardboard as well. You can fasten them together with other tape, but and you really don't have to worry too much about it once you tape them together. But then they go inside these bags. Now, these are ugly, I admit, but the cheapest bag you can get is an ugly bag. You can go on Amazon and get these in different colors, like solid colors, like mauve and pink and blue and turquoise and yellow, and you can get those that are a little more decorative, so you can not feel so ashamed to have these hanging in your windows. So look for those on Amazon and other places. Look for Mylar thermal bags. So those panels, when you tape them together side by side, will fit into these bags nicely to hang. And if you don't like the handle, you can actually fold them inward, so you can hide those inside the bag. You can hang this up by the corners, with clips to make a diamond shape in the window, or and you could actually roll this up in a car window if you're parked somewhere. But I'm telling you, there's a lot more decorative Mylar bags than this, but we're just looking at functionality for the cheapest price. So these will run up to $1.50 to $2 a bag now. But if you buy them in bulk, you can get them for probably 50 cents a bag, maybe, if you can get a good wholesale rate on them. So you put 100 layers of foil inside this. This itself is Mylar, gives you a couple more panels. The other thing, for the X-rays, you you can get this bubble wrap. This stuff's going quick. Um, it's not really going quick. It's just going, and it's not being replenished. But you fold these out. You cut this at twice the size of your Mylar bag. Score it down the middle with an X-Acto knife, or one of those box cutters, and fold it in half and put it inside one of those Mylar bags. That'll give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll give you 6 layers of Mylar, and that'll be sufficient for X-rays and extreme UV. But for the neutrons and actually that'll help you with alpha particles. But for neutrons, neutrinos, gamma rays, extreme gamma, extreme X-rays. Yeah, the multiple sheets of folded foil are going to work. They will work. And imagine refracting a gamma ray 100 times. And the layering effect, it's more of an armor. Rather than have one piece of solid, having several pieces of thinner solids offers you more ballistic style protection than just a single sheet alone. Now, so that's really something to think about, and we're wondering, what kind of global cataclysm is there going to be that's natural? And see, to me, it's going to be this rolling extinction. It's this rolling catastrophe that's happening right now, and it's just accelerating in its effects and what's happening to the globe in terms of methane and the loss of fish and birds. But it's a rolling scenario. It's ongoing. It's every day. It's every minute of every day, and that scenario is going to play out and eventually put stress upon human beings. If there was going to be a major catastrophic event, then there would be no need to depopulate. There would be no need to inject people with poisons. There would be no need to obstruct, people getting healthy, to obstruct fertility in women. There would be no need for that, because nature would come along and take care of the population all on its own. So why would man need to intervene and take on the depopulation agenda? If that were the case, let's say it was true, why would they do that knowing a cataclysm was coming that was going to do it anyways? So the fact is there's not going to be a doomsday. The fact of the matter is you're just seeing an extinction, and you're seeing it accelerate. And so, the dominoes have to fall one at a time. But if you ever watched dominoes, the longer the stream of dominoes, the faster they begin to fall. They accelerate. Faster and faster and faster. So you have to be able to look down the road and see where the dominoes are going to fall. So you're going to have extreme stressors that would cause people unrest. and demand changes from the government. So a rolling extinction, a rolling cataclysm, is what government fears, because it gives people time to do something, to, you know, to storm the Capitol, in a real sense, and not some phony staged Hollywood style invasion. I mean, like with pitchforks. But the so then, if you're stuck in a rolling cataclysm, then there may be a need to just hurry up and get it over with. And so that's a possibility. So, not knowing what all the truths are, not knowing how much of a stomach the people who are carrying out these orders, how far will they go, and how long will they keep obeying their masters before they resist. I don't know those answers, but I do know that when you're a soldier and you're asked to do something that's atrocious, that the soldier resents it. And that's the bottom line. So, people, since COVID, you notice people all of a sudden are real suspicious about COVID now. Or the origins, the treatments, the everything. Why do you need 4? Why? If it's effective? So people are waking up. They understand gain of function. They understand it. They're waking up. And before they become too riled and too organized, they'll have a whole string of things to keep us fragmented, keep us divided, keep us from communicating effectively, keeping us from congregating, keeping us from meeting. It's going to be that way. It's going to be that way. So, in conclusion, the asteroid meteor shower warning that could be an impact. Of course, we didn't pay a whole lot of attention because we didn't want to be one of those people that said there's going to be an impact when there's no impact. We like there to be an impact when we tell you there's going to be one. And usually that happens with very close approaches of comets. Recent close approaches, a lot of those you can bet are going to spurn off some very bright fireballs. The contradictions and the things that aren't adding up with respect to this story are suspicious, and makes me wonder if they're setting us up for something else. But we look around the solar system, we see our fireball counts are very, very high. They've been high all month. We see a lot of bizarre inbound activity on the corona of the sun. It looks like things are coming into the sun. We're seeing right now over 45 visible comets within our solar system. Now, we had over 60 a year ago, so actually the number of comets have decreased, but yet it's still a very crowded solar system. But all of this has been foretold. All of this has been predicted. We've been warned about by not just religious texts, but by insiders as well. I mean, how many different warnings do you got from how many different sources? And then when it all just starts happening exactly as they told you it would, why wouldn't you, change the way you think? We see all kinds of bizarre things happening with man. When I look around, and try to find things that would contradict or make me think differently, it's hard. It's hard to find that evidence that makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. Each day they're hyping the nuclear confrontation more and more. It seems as if when and if it happened, that 90% of Americans are going to blame it on Putin and not the deep state, not the globalists, not the military industrial complex, not the global billionaires. Not nothing like that. No, it'll be Putin, the latest boogeyman. So this is why I'm saying people should go to their bug out locations and just start doing their thing. Whatever you would do post apocalypse, go do it. Go do it now. Get started. There's no better time than now. But as you can see, we always try to connect the dots. We try to show you that there's a reason to this insanity, that if men appear to be behaving irrationally, it's because they're being ordered to. So, just remember, don't burn your bridges politically by arguing over puppets. And that's the last thing I got to say. Otherwise, get busy.